Well, blockchains are and Web3 are very early. Still today, it's like maybe internet in 2000, as Balaji says, but they improve, they get better, and you could get like this, I don't know, Nokia moment or BlackBerry moment where suddenly the big tech is behind. You get something similar with electric vehicles, like now, like with EVs. You get Chinese companies like entering the European market slowly, but suddenly the big legacy car makers can suddenly feel like, okay, this is the Nokia moment, and nothing will be like before. The change is like very slow, and it can get very sudden and quick. Yeah.
Hello, welcome back to Tambo's Desk, a weekly podcast covering deep conversations on technology, philosophy, complex science, and cryptocurrency. My name is Duke Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Szymek, a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I will be talking with Jakub Szymek about his article, Crypto vs. Big Tech, under the daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Szymek. Jakub, thank you for joining me today in Mtambo's Desk podcast.
Hi, Duke. It's pleasure is mine.
Well, in your recent article, you wrote about how decentralized finance, or DeFi, is changing the traditional financial system, and how crypto will eventually disrupt the big tech companies. Can you give us a quick overview about that?
Right. So, like, I try to summarize a long article or a transcript of a podcast with Balaji, done by Asimco. And actually, the podcast is behind the paywall, but the transcript you can read. It's just like the first link, hyperlink that I at the beginning of my article. And the podcast episode and also the article is called Crypto Plan for World Domination. So you can also like Google that. But it's quite long, and I try to summarize it in like a one-pager. That's like how I do the articles these days, a daily Balajism, because if you don't have articles in advance and you need to, it's like a challenge, so I to post every day. So I just like write like one pager, and post it
nice.
before midnight, So okay, but the article and the podcast focuses on like various ways or paths of disruption of big tech companies. So Balaji calls them sometimes the other MAGA. It's like not Make America Great Again, but like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Apple. And then he says like, okay, maybe Facebook and Twitter are in a bit different spot, because at least Facebook is like still founder-led. So Mark Zuckerberg, last time I made a mistake, Zuckerberg, but Zuck is like his abbreviation. Sorry for that, listeners. So Mark Zuckerberg is still a founder, and Balaji has this like founding versus inheriting. Founders are like they can make radical changes. So like Facebook turned into Meta, and they focused on metaverse. And they were early into crypto, but the unsuccessful project Libra so far, and they have some other project going on. And Twitter with Jack Dorsey previously, they tried to integrate Lightning, if I'm correct, but they did some like something with Lightning for tips. So Bitcoin Lightning, and Jack Dorsey is like a Bitcoin maxi, So, and now Elon with his Dogecoin or something, it's just like Elon is just like taking it as a joke a little bit, but like, okay, but he's really Elon is he can execute like technically and add many features, and so like Twitter and Facebook, they might be fine. I think also Balaji thinks this, and also the article just like to stress that this article is like almost 2 years old now, okay, or the podcast episode, but still I think most of the things held up well from it, and it's basically The idea is like to look at these companies, like let's say Microsoft or Google, and to see like how they can be disrupted by Web3 or crypto, you know. And so if you look at login, for example, so login is you log in with Facebook or with Gmail, you know, like if you enter a new, you want to get some new service, you know, like new app or something, and you don't need to like make a new login, but you can use like a Facebook login or a Google login. But crypto will disrupt it because with a wallet extension in your browser, you can, you know, and with Web3 companies, you can like log in with your wallet, you know, like MetaMask wallet. And it's superior because you have already a balance there, you know, so you can, you know, you can already spend like just like with your login. So that's like one area of disruption. Another one is messaging, you know, like because like with crypto you get provably end-to-end encrypted messaging, and let's say with WhatsApp they say it's end-to-end encrypted, but you have to kind of rely on the company owned by Facebook right now. So like with WhatsApp, but so like crypto brings this disintermediation and decentralization. So it's like bankless or trustless, you know, way of doing things. So yeah, similar to as we discussed before with exchanges, like centralized exchanges, the CEX, you know, the bad sex or something like a bad centralized exchanges versus DEX, you know, like decentralized exchanges. So basically, of course, you can get into trouble, so like, or it's like let's say not destroy your fortune if you do some bad, you know, if you send crypto to a wrong wallet or something. So it's like, but you are the root user. That's like the core proposition of crypto. It's like every user is a root user, so you can't be like deplatformed, demonetized, I don't know, cancelled on social media. And so this is like the core proposition. And with messaging, so you get also like end-to-end encrypted messaging, you get a decentralized social network. So that's like the disruption of, let's say, Facebook and YouTube. Content creators become owners of their own content, you know. So you are not like in China before Deng Xiaoping, that you could just lose everything, you know, that even your teeth didn't belong to you, like teeth in your head. You didn't own teeth in your head. It's like Balaji talks about this example of those farmers that signed the secret documents to actually keep some of the harvest. And so it's like, you know, and this is something similar. You are kind of like a peasant on Web2 internet, on current internet. So you are on Facebook or YouTube. You don't earn on like, you know, much from your content. Maybe on YouTube you do, but like on other platforms, not much. And you can be deplatformed or demonetized any day, you know, just like.
On that point, yeah, I think there's a person who raised, I don't know if it's you we discussed in the last podcast, but there's somebody who was raising the question that, yes, you post, say, for example, on Twitter, but whenever you want to get out of Twitter, can you get the really tweets? Not, yes, you can maybe get the tweets, but can you also get those people who retweeted, for example, the contact of them, like have it offline, you know? So that means we don't own the content that we post on Twitter completely.
Yeah, I mean, you might own the content, meaning like you can download it from, let's say, from Facebook, your statuses or something, but you don't own your social graph, you know. So
yeah.
that's like you don't get the context to your followers. So once you are deplatformed, you are like starting from zero, you know, from the bottom again, you know. So that's the issue, you know, like and with well, blockchains are and Web3 are very early still today. It's like maybe internet in 2000, as Balaji says, but they improve, they get better, and you could get like this, I don't know, Nokia moment or BlackBerry moment where suddenly the big tech is behind. You know, you get something similar with electric vehicles, like now, like with EVs. You get Chinese companies like entering the European market slowly, but suddenly the big legacy car makers can suddenly feel like, okay, this is the Nokia moment, and nothing will be like before. You know, the change is like very slow, and it can get very sudden and quick. Yeah. At some point. So yeah, so and with the social graph, yeah, that's true. You don't own your social graph, so you don't have direct context. Like let's say with Substack, you do. If I haven't tried it yet, you know, but like with Substack, you do. At least you know who is like signing, and you can signing up for your content, your articles, and you could like, let's say, decide to go for an open source version like Mirror, if I'm correct. I forgot the competitor now, but there is like an open source version of this. But okay, Web3 was still like kind of just like, okay, another kind of area is block explorers and search. But like, so you have like a search, you know, you can search like Etherscan, you can search the Ethereum network and the transactions. And it sounds like, okay, like these are just like financial transactions, so why should Google worry about search, you know? But like once these like decentralized social networks take off, so you get like Farcaster, Mirror.xyz, you get that, you get Diesel, and some others. So you have like these decentralized social networks, and once they become more popular, it's much easier to index them and basically to search them, you know. And so Balaji talked how Google didn't even have a block explorer, you know. So this kind of proves that they are behind on crypto, because there is like zero regulatory risk in having a block explorer, you know. But actually, I saw the other day, but I haven't watched the whole video, like they're cooperating with Solana on something. So like some team at Google, you know. This was before, I guess, or a similar time than the FTX thing. So, but I really hope like Solana will survive like all these. Like, okay, the token went down quite a lot, but anyhow, I hope some developers stay, and like they continue with the project, because we also tested Solana, and it's really good for some use cases, you know. Especially like, yeah, it's just cheaper, you know, like for some, let's say, to produce loads of NFTs, to produce, I don't know, DAOs and something. So I think, and they have like their Solana phone, which is another kind of attack, let's say on Apple, like, you know, you have an Apple phone, which is dominant now. But Solana, okay, they are having like an Android crypto phone like that, with some, like, I guess, better security and some pre-installed like Web3 apps or something. But it's still quite expensive. It's like 1,000, I think, dollars or something like that. But what I think would be like revolutionary if you get like a cheap crypto phone, you know. Like in Africa, maybe you can tell me better, but you have these like cheap smartphones, you know, like for $30 or something, like introduced by Orange, you know, and I guess they are Chinese made, but you could have like, yeah, if you have like sub $100 smartphone, and with Solana and Solana apps and like a mobile stack, so you can actually do all these things on a mobile, you know, like creating DAOs, and yeah, NFTs and stuff, that it can be quite a game changer, I think, for the industry. Yeah, that's another attack, and there are a couple of these, but social networks, login, crypto phone, search, and Balaji, this it's a long article, so I'm just summarizing it. He discusses like a couple of these like kind of attack vectors or like points of disruption of these big tech companies that crypto will bring eventually.
That is interesting. So I also see Web3 will reinvent the CPA advertising model, which will be more effective and cost efficient than the traditional CPM and CPC model used by Facebook and Google. But let's try to shift this into next level. Hey, can you tell us more about the aligned movement that Balaji mentioned in his plan?
Okay, so maybe just like to hover on this like cost per action versus cost per 1,000 impressions, if I'm correct, and cost per click. Yeah. So like with again, this is just like overview, but like you with blockchains you get triple entry accounting, meaning you have let's say two entities like advertiser and then let's say social network and the customer, or like you can get more entities like this, but then you have like the ledger, as an independent verification, because like both parties can actually verify on a blockchain on the ledger as that actually this kind of thing, this transaction happened. But you can also track, let's say, in the future with also these decentralized social networks, but also with people using crypto to pay, you can actually track that somebody actually purchased something like some item thanks to your content, like they could, and you can track directly like, okay, actually that person actually bought that, it's not just like you're not paying just for the eyeballs, just like for them viewing the content, but you can actually directly track and validate that the person actually did purchase it, like currently you can't do it because you have all these silos, and you can check like their bank account or something like that they did it like but with blockchains technically you could do it, so this is another attack like on big tech and disrupting advertising models, because you can probably check just that the customer actually went to your page and then they or listened to your podcast and then they actually bought the thing, they let's say clicked on the link and then they actually did the transaction, and you can verify it, because let's say they were listening or they were like they did it with the same wallet that let's say they were logged into your like I don't know, decentralized social network page, and like something like okay, maybe the details are a bit hazy here, like it's just like I'm kind of brainstorming on the spot, but like this is a big deal actually for like it can disrupt advertising of big tech, it's just like that's how Google makes their money, and that's how Facebook and basically makes their money. So that's a big thing. And the aligned movement, it's just like a Balajism for comparing the non-aligned movement from the last century, which was like, let's say, Yugoslavia, Cuba, but also many countries also in Latin America, Africa. And they were like described as so-called third world in previously, like the first world was the West, then second world were like, let's say, countries like ours, like behind the Iron Curtain, like the communist countries. And then there was like the third world. But Balaji believes that actually India was quite big also in the non-aligned movement. And Balaji believes that actually this century it can be flipped, so that the third world might come first, like countries like India, for example, because if they embrace open and global protocols like blockchain or Web3 protocols, because these will become like the rule of code, which is like superior to the rule of law. If the number one rule of the rule-based order is that the US makes the rules, so like I mean, it's, we I don't know, I like democracy in the West and everything. It's great, but but what Balaji talks about is like the crypto is to the US what the America was to Europe. So it's like global internet and free, like all these kind of freedom, actually a rule of code, not just the rule of law, where you can actually diligence everything, and you can you get much more transparent. You can't just get the platform because, let's say, some bureaucrat somewhere decides that he or she hates you and, let's say, freezes your account or deplatforms you from Twitter, as we saw with Twitter files. But you get superior experience and treatment, as a global citizen, if you are in any country in the world. So this is like the aligned movement, because like crypto aligns users and the communities. It turns companies into communities. So you get like protocols. Like you have email is a protocol, and the same way also Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana. It's protocol. You can't you can't call the boss of Bitcoin and summon him or her into White House, for some questioning, because it's just like a protocol. It's the same. You can't summon an email guy for a CEO of email, because email is a protocol. So it's also like so, and if let's say countries like India, because it's actually like Microsoft or Google or something. So they're like we will get, or we are having this duopoly of like the US based order, and then you have like the Chinese influence. Okay, Chinese, Russian, but China is now the senior partner. And if you don't want neither of these, or if you think that actually both of them might behave unfairly at times, like you might get, and you might get attacked or like deplatformed. And also we discussed about these two future scenarios, American anarchy and Chinese control. Like the America might become more chaotic in the near future, and actually China more authoritarian. And if you don't want neither, then and you can't, if you are like India, number 3, let's say in tech unicorns, or number 3, like becoming the big economy, growing rapidly, then you probably you want to embrace open source. So it's something similar, like if you're not gonna become like number 1 or number 2, maybe you should go embrace open source. And this is similar. You should embrace like these open and free global protocols, like blockchains, Web3. And basically, and you can actually dominate in this way. It's like the best strategy to become like the money power or the commercial power, where you become like a neutral supporter of global commerce, which is actually quite important, and now rare. Before, like, everybody was for global commerce, and now it's becoming more nationalistic. So also in the US and also in the China.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Jakub, thank you for sharing your insight with us today. It's clear that crypto will play a big role in the future of tech and finance.
Yeah, thank you, Gibbs. It's a crypto plan for world domination. You can Google it, and it's there is also a transcript and also a podcast, but by behind the paywall by Asimco with Balaji. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Duke. Take care.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. For audience, thank you for tuning in, and we hope we found the conversation enlightening. If you enjoyed listening to Tumbles Desk podcast, please don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.